from Rava that minyan haroy is paiter. Hayle asar tloim. You have 10 sheep. V'chnisan l'dir. You put them in the pen. Mana chamisha. You counted out 5 of them. Umei sechen me'am. And then one dies. We didn't say which one died, from which side. If it's one of the counted ones that died already, so you just finish. That's already counted out. You still have to count 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say one of the ones in the pen died. Now you only had 10 in total. So, minuyim peturim, those that were counted are exempt. Why? Because the counting exempts them. And the ones that weren't counted, you combine them to your next group of animals that are born. Which we said, you have the whole year for that. Even if there's a different goyren, even if, like we said, there are different seasons for them to be born. But at the end of the year, you can still combine them to other groups of animals. Because those were never counted, so it's not exempt. But it's a proof to Rava, because the ones that were counted would be exempt, even though that you don't have 8, 9, 10 over there. Rava also says, let's say you have 14 sheep. You put them in the pen. Now get ready. We're going to have 3 cases here. Very interesting. Now, the pen wasn't perfectly closed. It was closed. There was one hole that you thought everything's going to go out of, but it happened to be there was another hole. Like that animal I told you about, geometry. Figured out how to get out through the other, some other way. So 6 of them went through the hole that you wanted, that's what you were thinking. But 4 of them went out through the other hole. Now how many are left? There's 4 that are left inside. So Oisem Arba, those 4, if they go through the 6th hole, the hole that the 6 went through, sounds like a snooker. If they went through the hole of the 6, so noitel echad mehem, you take one of them as meiser. V'hashar, but those other 4 that went through the other hole, those were never counted properly. Those weren't really counted. So there's 4 that were never counted. If more animals are born, you combine those to them and you have to count those properly. Imlav, if the 4 don't go through the 6, the 4 go through the 4, Shisha Peturin. The 6 are exempt. Why are they exempt? They were counted, minyan haroy. Those had potential to reach 10. Arba, in those 4 and 4, which is 8, mitzvah from the Garanacher, they never had potential for 10. Because the 6 went out first. The 4 went out, and there was only 4 left. There was no potential. That's not considered minyan harai, even though Rava says that counting exempts, but it's only counting that you started with 10. It's called minyan harai. It has the ability to reach 10. That's exempt. But the 4 that went through the other hole, there was only 4 left. Those aren't considered anything. Second case. Yatzor abba b'pesach zeh. If first 4 went out through this hole. V'shisha b'pesach zeh. And then 6 went out through that other hole. V'nishtayr shem arba, and you have 4 left. If the 4 go through the 6, you take one of them. That was meiser. You have 10 over there. But if not, then arba v'shisha peturim. Both the original 4 and the 6 are exempt. Why? Because when the 4 went out, I still had 10 left in the pen. Those 4 could have reached 10. Happened to be. I stopped in the middle, and I let 6 go through the other hole. But those 4 were actually counted properly. That's minyan harai. Now the last 4, where did they go? Those last 4, if they didn't go to the 6 to make 10, they went to the 4. So those first 4 were eligible to become 10. So those are exempt. But the second 4, those have to join another group if there's more animals that are born. Let's go to the third case. Yotzu arba b'pesach zeh, arba b'pesach zu. 4 go out this way and 4 go out that way. This is very good. No. He exempt. First, he gets rid of the 4. This is like a riddle.
It's almost ironic. If you really want to work hard not to give the, there's ways.
Right. Nishtayru Sham Shishi, you have 6 left. Imaisam Shishi Yatsa B'Pesach Echad. If they go through one way, okay, whichever one, Naitel Me'am Echad. So you take off one, Bashar Peturim. Ve'im Lav, but if not, Arba Peturim. 4 of them are exempt. I'm missing some words here. Arba Peturim. The first 4 and the first 4 are exempt. Those 2 4s are exempt. Why? Because when the first 4 went out, I still had 10 left. When the next 4 went out, I still had 6 left. So each of those 4 had potential to reach 10. Now the last 6, V'shishim is start from the Gayer Nacher, but I need to combine those other 6 to another group. Gemara says, "My kamashmalan." What's the chiddush over here? What's Rava trying to say? A riddle? Just all of these things, it's all the same story. The minyan aroi paiter, that potential to reach the number 10 exempts, the counting itself exempts. V'amar Rava chadazimna, Rava already said that. The minyan aroi paiter. So ma'od tema, what might you have said? Vaday minyan haroi amrinan, safik minyan haroi dechazilacha la yamrinan. If I have exactly 10 with only one hole, so that's definitely minyan haroi. They all have to come through. Right here, there's full potential. 100%. Then something happens, whatever the case. But originally I had 100% potential for this to work. So then I should say that minyan haroi exempts. Just the counting itself works. But over here I have 2 potentials, which means that there's a 50% chance that it's not going to reach it. Could be that it's going to go out the other hole. Maybe it's not going to reach 10.
Did he know he had those 2 entrances?
I think so. So I could have said that chazi lahacha la yamrinan, because it might go out the other hole, that's not going to be considered counting. It's not considered eligible because there's a potential for some other escape. So then I don't say minyan haroi. Kamashmal on that, no, I say minyan haroi even when there's potential for another escape.
Wow. So always make 2 entrances.
So clearly, not that you shouldn't.
What?
We said before that you're only supposed to have 1. We'll see in the Mishnah here.
So, but if he was a pesher, why are we giving him a reward?
I don't know if he's a pesheya. It's like you build a sukkah, you do your best,
I
so
guess
you try to get 4 walls.
Now I'm a little confused. Is this a mitzvah like tzitzits, where if you wear a 4-cornered garment, it needs tzitzits, but who says you need to wear a 4-cornered garment? This is who says if he's going to count, this is the way to count, but he doesn't have to count. Is this the same thing? I'm a little concerned with the comment.
There comes a time, like we learned, that there was a geiran where you have an obligation then to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, one
If
of
you
the 3
didn't,
dates.
those 3 dates. Before that time, you didn't have to. You could just shecht an animal one at a time. Take
But
your
after
mice
those
yet.
3 dates, you have to. And if you skip the date, you don't do it.
You're not supposed to shecht it. You're not supposed to use your animals until it's done.
So you have to keep everything born between those 3 dates without shechting it, right? And you get to one of these dates, Yontif. I guess the day before the Yontif, we learn for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Then you run them through.
Right.
And it is an obligation to run them through, or it's just if you run them through, this is the
No.
way
That
to
was
do it?
considered. That was an obligation. Is it rabbinic that those dates may be rabbinic? Those dates are probably rabbinic.
But the obligation itself is to us.
Yeah.
Very good.
The Amar
Brings
Rabba.
it into clarity with your question.
Yeah, Yeshakayach.
Confusing.
No, it just brought it some clarity.
Thank you for coming back from Ukraine.
Thank you for having me.
The Amar Rava. Rava also says, Hayolei chamisha asir telaim. Someone has 15 sheep. Lo yoimar ever asar v'achnisum l'dir. Don't say, I'm going to count out 10 and I'll put them into the pen. Betel meyem echad. And then I'll just use 10 of them. I won't put them all in the pen. I'll just use 10. Bashar Peturim, and the rest will be exempt. I'll just be able to shech them because I only have 5. No. You have to put them all in the pan. And then you take out 10. And then the rest you have to join to another group. What's happening here is, Naftali, it's part of this discussion. If I never put them into the pan, then I can still shech them. But once I put them into the pan and I start counting, so then the ones that go out are exempt, and one of them becomes meiser. But the other ones, because they were already in the pan for meiser, I can't shech them anymore. I have to wait till I get 10. I have to join them to another group. You see, it's creating the problem. When you don't have exactly 10, you create a problem on the remainder, that you have to wait until the year passes, I guess.
Just if you don't have any more animals, that's it. You're stuck with 5. That's it.
That's what it seems. At least that's how Rashi is going to say over here. Once it enters the pen.
The pen for counting. Designated for counting at this time.
Rashi on the next page says it.
So if you have the direct deposit paychecks, and then you take your money out, should you technically make sure that essentially every time you take out 1,000, take out 100 for Maser?
No,
or as opposed to just cashing a check, and let's say, this time I cashed 400, this time I cashed 800, this and that, and there is technically no pen. I know that sounds a little contrived. I'm trying to bring it to nowadays.
So what's the second way?
Where there is technically no pen because you just cash paychecks randomly, and none of them, let's say, are $1,000, as opposed to direct deposit, where you end up with a bank account that always has over $1,000, and then when you take out.
Seriously, help me out here.
It's a good.
So
I'm asking you how nowadays we
Getting
count
it-
Maser.
Yeah.
I used to have a
question.
separate checking account, separate account
Instead
that
of 10%, give 20.
every
you won't
time I
have
got
any
a
problems.
paycheck, I deposited, I took out 10,
Right.
and I transferred to you. So I knew that was a Maser
Right.
account. It drove my wife nuts, and I ended up after like a
The
year or
Tulumini.
two. But the question is, how do you do Maser nowadays?
Yeah. So the first way is the easiest. And the second way is that where you just make a calculation how much you earned, and at a certain time, before the end of the year or whatever, you have to separate whatever it is.
But I'm taking Naftali's question, trying to say, well, if we don't have a pen, we're really high to do the
As
money.
soon as you get the money
The bank account.
in your bank account, you're done.
But you never, the other way,
doesn't make
you
a
didn't
difference
get
if
in
you
your
didn't
bank
take it.
account because you cashed the check.
It makes no difference if you
Oh,
cash a check or not. You own the money in the
It's
bank
your wallet.
account.
The bank is just a virtual wallet.
How did you cash the check? You had a sign on the back of the check with A.
You sign the pen.
Okay.
The pen.
Tanya Nami Achi. It was also taught in the Brisa.
Good. Get that man a call.
We're just getting.
It was taught in the Brisa. The pencil. You have
Misha also 15.
15. It was also taught in the Brisa. You have 15 sheep. Lo yoymar ever asara vetel echad. Don't say I'll just take out 10 and I'll count those out. See, there's one other aspect to this. The other aspect to this is that if you have 15 and you're just going to use 10 for Meiser, you may be choosing the weaker ones, or something like that, and that's a problem. It says Lo Yevaker Ben Tayv L'Ra. You're not supposed to choose which ones. You're supposed to put them all together and count them. That's a second issue here. Vashar Pturim. Ela Kainsim L'Dir. You put them all into the pen of Mitzvah Yasar V'Neitul Me'amechad. You take one out. Vashar Mistaf from the Garinach, and the other ones combine to a new Gairin. And like we said, then you have to wait before you shech those.
So it's the Yom Tov that's coming. The new Goran, right?
The new Gairin would be the next Yom Tov, yeah. For the next group, which is, as long as it's within the same year, you can still combine them. The Gemara asks a question, V'hatanya, but it was taught in a Brisa a little different. Tisha Asr Tlaim, if you have 19 sheep, listen to this because this is a very interesting catch. If you have 19 sheep, Lo Yoymar Ever Asara, don't say take out 10. Ve'etel Mea Me'echad. And I'll take Meiser off those 10. Vashar Pturim, and the rest will be exempt. Ela Kainsim L'Dir. You have to bring them all 19 into a pen. Omoitzi asar, you take out 10. V'noitel me'am echad, and you take a meiser from one of them. V'hashar peturim, and the others are exempt. Doesn't say the others you combine to another geiren. The others are exempt because you only have 9. But why before did we say that when you have 5, you have to combine them to another group? Watch this. Tirgama Rav Huna bar Schaira kamei derava. Rav Huna bar Schaira. We may be able to fit this with that Bruggen Margalius, although this name may be more common. Rav Huna bar Schaira says the name of Rava Berigla at the Regel. At the Regel means at the gathering when everyone was there to learn. He says like this. Watch this catch. We're talking about a pen that has 2 openings. You have to test for Pesach Zeh. The test for Pesach Zeh. You let 9 go through this one and 9 go through that one. It's incredible. The Haich Chad, that this last one, Chazi Lahacha Lahacha. The last one could go through either one. So therefore, whichever one it goes through, you just exempted all of them.
Why all of them? Why can't
Because
it
they're
go-
both minyan aroi, because I had 9 going through each hole. And I still, even when both 9 went through, I still had 1 left that was able to go through either one. So those 9 are exempt from minyan haroi. The last one goes through, I take with the last one Meiser, whichever hole it goes through, the last one would be Meiser.
And then the other 18 go.
And now the 18 were already exempt. The Gemara asks, Velishni like Gain Shemana Tisha. Why don't we say that what happened was he counted out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He started over again. He said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then when the 10th one went out, he said 1, 2, 3, and then he'll get to 10. Gemara says, Kasavar Asiri Me'elav Kaddish. This opinion holds that it's not your counting that makes it sanctified. It's the 10th one that makes it sanctified automatically. You could say any random Chinese word. It doesn't make a difference. If it's the 10th one, it's the 10th one. Velishni begoirin. Umanan zugas zugas. We have another option. He could have done it like this. What's that aleph? Gegoin, not begoirin. Gegoin the manan zugas. He could have done it like this. He could have
Counted
counted
like Noah,
2.
2 by 2.
2 by 2s. And each 2 he counted as 1. 1 pair, 2 pairs, 3 pairs. What happens when he gets to 9?
He doesn't
He
know
counts
which
the
one.
last 18. He counts it's 18. And when he gets to 10, it's the last one, which will join whichever one. But that's in the 10th one. So the Gemara is assuming here that there's another way of doing Meiser is by counting 2 by 2. And then the last 2 is going to be Meiser for both of those. Gemara says, Kasavar Asiri Leminian Behemoth Kaddish. He holds that the 10th one is going to be sanctified not by your numbers, but by the number of animals. So you're going to have, it's not, the fact that he's counting by 2s doesn't do anything. Going back to that, it's automatically the 10th one. So it's when the second pair goes through, you're really at 4, even though you just said 2, but you're really at 4. So when you reach your 5th pair, you already had the 10th one go out. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak.
Which one of that pair is actually the most?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. That's a
It's
good
like
question.
the 9 and 10 question.
Right.
You ask enough questions, finally you get a good one.
But aren't we? They're all
Good.
Don't we have to assume that they're going out in a proper way? Meaning, we've already learned it has to be constructed, so only one can
Right.
go out at a time.
Right,
It's just
but apparently
counting
this
in
may
pairs.
not. This may be. I mean, it's leaving room for it to be that they're going out two together.
Uh-huh.
It's like kindergarten with a buddy system. Over here and there.
Rooster system. I'm not sure. Someone mentioned this. Okay. I'm I'm not sure. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Zakoi ema de Rav Huna bar Schayra. Lucky is the mother of Rav Huna bar Schayra, the Shani le Shmaite Brigla Kishmaite, that he was able to explain what Rava meant, exactly what he was able to explain exactly what Rava meant, because Rava said,
Why the mother not went on the Father's Day? Why are they just sitting with the mother? Also, forgive us.
She carried him.
Is it? I mean, not on this one. It says he gave birth to him.
right. I don't know.
She did the labor. He's only taking it easy. That's what they call labor.
Did he make it to the majority? The Rabbeinu Gershon says, even though he wasn't such a great chacham, but he still had it correct.
Right.
But I didn't see this in the Sefer, but Reb Reuven Margolis would say that Rav Huna bar Schayra is because he had a good business model of how to exempt it, of getting the 9 and the 9 and then the 1. Follow? Even if it's not true, but it still helps you remember. Okay. The Mishnah says, Yatzu Shnayim Ke'achas. If two came out together, Mayna Isam Shnayim. Take out one of these Shnayims over here. You count it as 2. Manan Echad. You see, it's not, you're counting, this is a little different than the case before. Before you were counting by pairs, like buddies. That's not what's happening here. Here you started counting. 1, 2, everything's normal. But there's one group, one animal that went out with its friend in the middle. So if you don't count that as 2, then you're going to mess up your 9 and 10. Shiva Asir Mikol Kalim. If you count them both as 1 because they went through at the same time, then you're going to mess up your 9 and 10 because your 9 was really 10 and you counted it as 9. Because you had 2 animals that went through in the middle. And then your 10th one, the one that you count as 10, is really 11. So you're going to mess that up. Kara, there's actually there's some wording here that's missing. It says, the next case is Yatsu Shiva Siri Ka'achas. Let's say the 9 and the 10 went out together. So Shiva Sir Mikol Kalim. The 9 and the 10 are confused. Okay, now it says like this. Kar Lichi Asir. This is the Mishnah that we learned before when we had to learn the Gemara back over here to explain Reb Shimon ben Yehuda. If you call the 9th one the 10th one, Kar Lichi Asir Lasid Shi, and then you call the 10th one the 9th one, so 9 was 10 and the 10 was 9, at least in your pronouncement. Lachad Asar Siri, and the 11th one was the 10th. You called it 10. Shloshim Mikudashim, all 3 are sanctified. Chi is Nechal B'mumai, it's a lesser sanctity. You just have there's a blemish, you can eat it. Asiri is Meiser, the 10th one is actually Meiser. Vachad Asar Kar Shlamim, and the 11th one is Shlamim Va'isa Tmura, and I can exchange the 11th one with another. Not that I can exchange. I'm not allowed to exchange the 11th one with another one, but if I do, the next one becomes sanctified as well because it was a shlamim. However, that's Divrei Rab Meir. Amar Rab Yehuda. Rab Yehuda responds to him, "V'chiyesh tmura is tmura." The 11th one itself was tmura. It was an exchange for the 10th one, and you can't keep exchanging one from another. It gets too diluted, or it's the tmura itself was only an exchange from a korban, and now you want to exchange that one for. Amru Mishum Reb Meir, they said in the name of Reb Meir to respond, Ilo haya tmura, if the 11th one would have been tmura, Lo haya karev, you wouldn't bring it, because Meiser doesn't have tmura. It's a special halacha. All other sacrifices have tmura. I think Meiser and Bechar don't have tmura. So he says there's no tmura here. It's not tmura. So it's a shlamim that you can make it into tmura, the 11th one. Rabbi Yehuda held that the 11th one itself was tmuras Meiser. Kara Lichi Asiri, let's see, you call the 9th one, the 10th one, Ola Asiri. Asiri, and the 10th one you did accurately. You called it 10. Lachad Asar Asiri, and the 11th one you called 10. Ein Achad Asar Mekudesh. The 11th one is nothing. Zaklal, this is the rule. Kol shalei nekar shem asiri mimenu. If I did not uproot the name of the 10th from it, ein achad aser mekudesh. The 11th one will not be sanctified.
Even if there was an error in the counting to get to the 10?
If the 10th, kol shalei nekar shem asiri mimenu, if I did not uproot the name 10 from it,
From the 10th.
from the 10th, no.
Well, that it can't be
Yeah,
that because
it says,
If I did not uproot the name of 10,
is the principle in any situation where the name of the 10th was not removed from the 10th animal, then the 11th that was called the 10th is not Kaddish.
Oh.
Because he named 9, 10, 10, 10, and 11.
If I did not uproot it, that means I called 10, 10, then the 11th one isn't sanctified. Yeah,
we
it's
need,
like an,
we need a mission to teach us that. Why do we need a new mission to tell us that?
well, we learned it before because we learned the Mishnah.
But no. We counted correctly.
No.
We,
I counted.
This is a case where, according to what David says in there, you counted correctly. You called number 10, 10.
Right.
So now, this is coming to teach us.
But I also called 11, 10. The 11th one sometimes
This is where you called 10, 10, and 11, 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
And 9, 10.
And 9, 10.
Wow. Really?
Okay. Yeah.
What's that?
You lost me on the last.
No, you called everything. You called the
called
9th one 10. You called the
called
11th, the 10th one 10.
Bad
and
morning.
Called
What did you do?
everything.
You went
Called
one, two,
everything.
three,
Called 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would
My
I want
example was Sweetie.
All he could see is a 10.
Yeah, everyone has
I
the
got
same
you.
thing.
All he
10.
saw is a 10.
It's the guy
It's like a fixation.
Pesach Hadas, and
Yeah.
he kept it going 10.
This
Oh,
is
yeah,
a, this
10,
is a
10.
He's on his
this is a
phone while he's
Shema
counting.
Esrei, this farmer, all these examples.
Tennessee.
Guy couldn't count his own livestock.
You guys, you're all losing it. And you think I'm losing?
Amar Rabbi Yechanan.
Okay, we're back on the line.
Rabbi Yechanan says, Manan zugas zugas, or kinchin kinchin. If you count 2 by 2s, or if you count 100 by 100, asiri leminyanai hu kaddish. The 10th to the counting is sanctified. Now it's unclear what he means. Leminyanai mai. What does he mean? The 10th to his counting is sanctified. Rav Mari Amar. Rav Mari says leminyan shaloi kaddish. It's his own counting. That means if he's counting by hundreds, so the 10th hundred is going to be sanctified.
Nice. Wealthy dude.
The 10th hundred, all 100?
Does groups
100,
of hundreds.
100.
1,
Yeah.
2.
So he counts 900 and then the next is sanctified? Is that what it
Counts
says?
9 hundreds. It would be as if he had $100 bills. You count it as 1, 2, 3. You don't count 100, 200. You count 1, 2, and you get to. So he's counting. He has 100 animals. He's counting 1, 2, and when he gets to the 10th hundred, all 100 are miser
Wait,
for the
that's
first.
1,000
You're allowed to
Yeah.
do that? You're allowed to do that?
I thought we'd learn no.
No, he's counting 100 that it's shot.
You're allowed to do that?
It's you weren't supposed to do this, but this is
He
what
did
happens.
it.
This is what he
So
did.
what happened?
Okay.
So the last 100 is sanctified.
Oh,
Oh, Meiser for the first 10.
so
For the
that's
first,
according to
for
the
the first
opinion
900.
For the first
that
900.
goes by your counting.
900.
Aren't you
means-
supposed to leave a Siri? The Torah specifically uses the number 10.
So he
That's
says
Mr.
10.
Machlokes.
It's 1/10.
No, 10 animals, not 10 100s.
But that was
The Torah
the
never meant 10 100s, never. When it says 10,
wait. That was
it
the
means
earlier
10
Machlokes.
animals,
So
not
it's
10
asking, what if
100s.
he- What if he didn't do it the way he was supposed to do it? What if he did
Again.
it this way? Then what do you
Again.
do?
So why would there even be a Havamina?
Because it
Well,
The
hurts.
the Torah says 10. I mean, where did you get 10 to make it into 100? 10 means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's what 10 means.
Huge
If
somebody gives you $1,000 and you give
What is the
money,
bu- what's
you don't
the-
have to count one,
what's
two,
actually-
three,
what
you
does the
just count-
pasuk
Meiser is
actually
nothing,
say?
You're confusing.
What does the pasuk actually say?
Assyria Kodesh. Take the pasuk. Lo yivakar v'rav v'chayit. V'lo yamirenu v'yamer yamenu ha'yehudu k'mor Assyria Kodesh. כל מעשר בקר וצוי, כל אשר יעבור תחת השבט, העשירי יהיה קודש להשם. Where did you get 100? You have to count. 1, 2, 3,
So he
4,
did it
5.
in this interesting way.
Unbelievable. So they're
That's
saying
Rav
that
Mari.
the 10th is Kodesh.
Yeah, the 10th group.
10th 100.
So Rav Kana says no. Rav Kana says Leminion Behemoth Kaddish. No, doesn't work like that. It's the 10th, nothing to do with his counting. It's the 10th one, even though he counted it, in that first one that he counted, he already has 10 of them, and he counted it all as one, but because they passed through like that, those, each one, there's a bunch of miser ones in there that are
But you don't
sanctified.
know who they are. And why would that not be any different than the one that jumped back in the pen
Right.
and nullified the rest?
Right, it would be a problem. It would be a problem, because he didn't mark it off.
I rest my
You would have to
case.
look at you have to look at the cameras to see. Tanan. Okay, so we have machlekes what the pshat and Rabbi Yochanan is. Tanan. It was started in the Mishnah. Yotzer shnaim ka'achas. Our Mishnah says that if two go out as one, so ma'noisem shnayim, you have to count them as two. But if manon echad, if you count them as one, shiva simikol kalim, you're going to mess up the calculation. Bishleim lamandam laminion shalai. If we say, like Rav Mari, who Kadesh, he says that the 10th one,
So really, the theme that's running through, the theme or the question that's running through these
Obviously,
last
very
Dafim is
revolutionary.
what's important,
No,
Is
the
it
reality
Huntsman?
or the count that he did.
Right.